Hi all, I just wanted to do a quick video on the new SOQL step type in Analytics Cloud. Just a quick video. We're basically going to do two graphs. One of those graphs will be from a data set from Analytics Cloud. The second graph will be from a SOQL query directly pulling information from Salesforce. We'll plot them and then we're going to do a selection bind between both of those graphs. It's a really cool new functionality. There's a couple of cool things that we can do with this. Obviously pulling directly from Salesforce for real-time information instead of going through that integration process with the on-platform ETL tool. But also we can use a SOQL query to query an OData connection. So if you've got external systems like SAP, for example, a common use case is we've got all of our opportunity line items in SAP. We want to basically query them and align them up with opportunities to see reconciliation of opportunity amounts and obviously the line items in SAP. So we'll make it really simple. If I jump into the data set first quickly so I can show you the account details, in essence what I did here was download two columns via Workbench. Now you can pull these in obviously with the on-platform ETL tool, but you can see here, if I just change that values table, we've got our ID, our account ID, and we've got our account name. This is a dev org that I've just spun up so I can run you through this. So that's one data set, and what we'll do now is we'll just go and create a dashboard and we'll plot that on our graph. So I'm in the Spring 17 version that just came out my time this weekend. So I've got this new functionality. It came out as part of that release. So here I'm just going to grab a graph and I'm just going to plot all of my account names. And I'm just going to do a count of rows. I didn't put a measure in there, just made it really simple. And I'll just make it fit so we can see the actual names of the accounts. So let me just save this, call this SOQL test 2. Okay, so we've got our first graph. So now what we want to do is use the new SOQL syntax for a step. So I've got it pretty easily here. I've just gone into the Salesforce Spring 17 release notes. Okay, and it's very simple. Just copy and paste this out, right? So you can see that the syntax is similar to the SOQL steps. There's a couple of extra properties here, so just have a look at this, mainly the string piece. And obviously, if you scroll down a little bit further, you can see the nuances here in the step. So is facet and use global don't apply to this step. So I'm just going to now jump into my JSON, right? So for those that don't know how to do that, I just did Apple and E. I think it's Control and E on Windows. And I'm just going to paste in this step, right? So here's my first step. I'll just put a comma, and I'm going to paste that in. You can see that the name is SOQL, the type is SOQL, and here we've got our baseline query. So I'm just going to press done on that and just grab that graph onto our page here. Okay, so we can see it comes up with an error. Right, so now if I jump back in and I'll just save it again. The error is basically it's querying Salesforce, but it doesn't have the information to plot the data. So here I'm just going to go and put in, I'm going to grab the name and I'm going to add it as a grouping. Okay, so it's added in. I think that should work. No, it won't. It's because I don't have a measure. So very quickly I might just add that in so you can get the gist of exactly what I'm trying to do here. Annual revenue. Okay, hopefully that should come up. Bam. Okay, cool. So here we can see that we've got that graph working, and I'm just going to change the auto fit. Okay, so here, and I'll save it. We've basically just done a SOQL query to Salesforce. We've pulled back all of our accounts with the associated annual revenue as the measure. So I'll just pop that open, scroll down so you can see all of those. Okay. Cool, so pretty straightforward. We've got two graphs here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and grab via Workbench a query for my opportunities on the org. So I'm just going to pop over to Workbench. For those that haven't seen it before, workbench.developerforce.com. You log in, authenticate with your Salesforce credentials or your session. And here basically you can use Workbench to do SOQL queries. So as I said at the beginning, all I want to do here is say, look at the opportunity object, okay, and add in some columns in essence, and then I want to order the opportunity by amount, right? So if you think about what we're trying to do here is, I just want to understand, I want to query Salesforce every time the dashboard loads, and I want to show my number one opportunity or my top 10. And then I basically want to select that number one opportunity, and then it's going to pass it to my account graph. So here, pretty straightforward SOQL query. We're basically selecting from the opportunity object the account ID, the name, and the amount. And then I'm just ordering it descending by amount here. Okay, and you can see the results. If I run that query again, great. It's going to ask me to log back in, and we get to show you this. So here I'm just going to go opportunity. It's going to pull up the fields, and I'm just going to quickly go account ID. We want the account ID because we want to join it as part of the dashboard. So I might just go from Z to A, just query that. Okay, and then I'll just add in name because I know the fields, and amount. Okay, Z to A, and I'm going to choose amount there. Okay, so query that, and that should work. Perfect. Okay, cool. So we can see that the highest amount has come up to the top. So I'm just going to grab that. I'm going to copy that. And now I'm going to put that into my SOQL query step. So you can see here you've got the query. I'm just going to remove that. I'm going to paste that. And then I'm just going to change the numbers and the groups section, right? So actually the name is fine in groups. So now I just want to change it to amount. Okay, so done. All right. So what we have now, those two graphs, I've got all of my opportunities, live query to Salesforce, and then we have our accounts here on the left-hand side. So if I click that, we can see that nothing on the page is faceting. Okay, they're not interconnected in whatsoever. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump to my website and I'm going to grab a selection binding. Okay, so here, transitioning to Bindings 2.0 guide. I'm going to scroll down. Okay, and then I'm going to grab this one here. Okay, so this is a selection bind, and basically with the selection bindings 2.0, we want to grab the field, the destination field, and the step in which we want to pass through, and then add it into our appropriate graph here. So the step I'm looking to do is name_1. So I'm going to go and find that in my code, and here it is, right? So name_1. I'm just going to pass that into there. I'm going to paste it in there, and the syntax is incorrect up the front because it's got a line down, and I'm missing a comma. Perfect. I'm just going to do that as done. It's not going to work straight off the bat, but what I do want to do there is just make sure. Okay, thank you. The syntax comes across correctly. So what is the field that we want to filter, right? So in my data set, you remember it was ID. We can see the step here, dot selection. So I'm going to just grab that SOQL step name, okay, and the destination field. So what we wanted to do was the account ID, right? So if I now press done, right, and I go into my preview, I should be able to select an opportunity, and what it's doing is passing through the account ID in which I queried as part of that SOQL query, and it's passing it through, and then it's filtering also on that ID in the Analytics Cloud step. So let me just jump into the code so you can see that in a bit more detail. So here you can see that we're pulling in the account ID as part of the SOQL query, the name of the opportunity, and the amount. Okay, and we can see them grouped and projected there as the measure. Then up the top here, as part of the Analytics Cloud data set, we had our groupings of name, right, as a column, but we also had an ID column. So when we've added in our filter here as part of the selection biome, we're saying, look, I want you to filter the ID from the SOQL step, and the field in which I want you to filter the ID on is the account ID, right? So SOQL query, pulling in from Salesforce, has all of those columns. We're then passing that through to our Analytics Cloud data set. And obviously when we do that, it then filters, okay? So that's a SOQL step in Analytics Cloud, and we're using it to kind of filter some specific outcomes on another graph. And that's it.